Welcome to the EatingCast. This is Vincent.
And I'm Chris.
Today we are joined by good friend Connor and Eric.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello. Appreciate having us.
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you guys on. It's been like we've been talking about this for a hot minute now.
Yeah.
Getting you guys on. Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, the listeners, Connor was the one that created our intro for the music. So big shout out to that.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to help out.
It was amazing.
I love it.
It was exactly what we were looking for too.
Yeah. It's kind of like crazy how you're in his head, because I'm in his head already.
I know.
You got in there like, oh god, okay, we'll open up this little door over here, and okay, I see what you want. Okay, you want a little bit of snare, a little bit of this, a little bit of jazziness.
Yeah. He kept sending me stuff, and I was just like,
I really did not
try to.
Yeah, I really didn't want to do
replicate
that
that.
because I wanted you to keep your creative space, but I mean it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Was it from episode 1?
For the second season.
Season.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what'd you do in the first season?
Nothing.
We didn't have.
We didn't have any intro.
Look at that.
Yeah. We're getting there.
So is Connor.
Yeah, he is.
So I kept revising it, tried to get something. You're like, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm glad
That's
it worked
awesome.
out.
All right. So, anyways, for our listeners and viewers, as you can see on this table, but for our listeners, you cannot see what's on this table. It's really empty. Sorry, I'm sick too. So please, I'm sorry, I'm sick.
Oh.
But yeah, we don't have any food today. We just got some coffee and some tea,
Perfect.
and we're just going decaf.
all I
It's
want.
herbal tea. I don't remember what it was. It was like something about herbal tea.
Something minty and
Yeah.
delicious. I
Peyote.
appreciate it.
It's called
Wow,
mint.
Even better.
It's called Mint Majesty. That's what it's
That
called.
sounds good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the topic for today, we're going to talk about human emotions, how to deal with them, life philosophies, and just really like how to deal with toxic people, how to recognize them, and being able to just like live life healthier, happier, just laugh, more laughs.
And you know what you do with toxic people? You just close the door behind you.
What if they're in
That's
front
very
of you?
true. That's very true.
What if they're in front of you? Then you're trapped.
Ah shit! Hey, I gotta go backwards. Oh crap! There's another over there.
You gotta cut in front then.
What if it's an automated door?
Oh shit!
Wow.
Then
Then you're in luck.
Oh, dun dun, huh?
Then you're in luck.
Yeah. The door will close on its own.
Oh.
Wow.
Or if you're in the same place, then it won't.
Yeah.
Then you just go out again and it'll close on them.
Elevator style.
Escalator.
But yeah, so to get started, what?
Or even like before that, it's like so.
Oh.
Connor, Eric, you guys can rock paper scissors it out,
yeah.
or fight, or duke it out, or to see
After
who
you.
wants to intro first.
So just about like toxic relationships and stuff.
Or I mean, like a
toxic
little bit about
people.
you, you know. So
Yeah,
like,
a
you
little
know,
bit.
who are
Like
you?
intro.
What are
A
you
little bit
about?
about
What
you.
have you
Okay.
done? Where are you now? Where are you
Okay.
going?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the pleasure of meeting this guy and you as well, just through work and everything. But it's been a interesting ride, just like throughout like school and everything. I mean, I've always been into like music and stuff, but just trying to like find my career path was always interesting. Just learning what I could from school, inspiration from friends, and all sorts of things like that. And so it's just been an interesting ride of figuring out where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to do with everything.
Okay.
And then just trying to learn as much as I can on the way, really. That's kind of been one of my philosophies, is just try to absorb everything and take what I can from that.
Okay, that's awesome. So like, kind of like trying to find your career path, right? Like, how has that been? Like, how's your journey kind of led you to where you are now?
So, starting in school, like, first applying to college, I had, like, no clue, really. But it kind of went into more of, like, the health science kind of area. So, like, I thought I wanted to be an athletic trainer, so I started off applying to that.
We were in the same ballpark.
We really?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Nice.
I was a little later on, but yeah, same idea.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I thought was super cool at first, right? And so I got into that program eventually and just realized, like, it wasn't quite for me. It wasn't quite what I wanted to do. But I still wanted to stick with more of, like, the health science area. So I just broadened it out with kinesiology and kind of went on with that. And which was cool is, like, with all the different classes in that broad view, kind of narrowed it down and gave me, like, that freedom to still see everything. Like the different aspects of it, but then kind of still was figuring out from there. So just kind of taking what I could from each class, like, hey, I like that, or not like that too much. So kind of learned from that a little bit, and then just outside of school as well, just anything else I was doing, whether it was music or just like seeing things that inspired me. I was like trying to think about everything. So try to take all of that and put it into a career path and kind of really just keep pushing forward, whether it's, where you're trying to go or not, but just kind of pushing forward and seeing where it goes from that.
Okay. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't think you said it right, but you're in physical rehab right now.
Yes, physical rehab. So it's been an awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like I'm taking all that knowledge finally from school and like actually applying it and kind of reopening those doors in my mind of like stuff I might have learned years ago or even more recently, but taking all that and really putting it into like a physical form now, like actually being able to use it, see it, like more practical than just like the knowledge on the book. It's like talking with the patient, working with the patient, stuff like that.
I also think that like for people who just graduate and find jobs outside, like if it's not in their career field, in the field that they want to study, I think they need to understand that you can still acquire skills from that job, and so people should just take the job and just learn what they can. Because any experience is good experience.
Exactly.
And that's how you grow.
Hopefully you're taking that from everything, not just your job. But you got into that because you had like a strong martial arts background, right?
That's true. So I mean, like right out of school for just over a year, I was working as a kickboxing instructor.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I thought that was super cool. It was a great opportunity. Use a little bit of that knowledge with like the exercise portion of it. So it was kind of cool, like seeing that side of it. But that was more like the fitness realm, and it was super fun. But I knew like learning from that kind of narrowed it down to like more of what I'm doing now.
Yes.
I kind of learned
Kickboxing, and what else? You did karate.
Yeah, so karate and taekwondo were like my true background in martial arts, and then karate and taekwondo can kind of be a form of kickboxing, so it kind of worked out there.
Have you seen those videos where like the guy just barely touches them and then they kind of collapse?
Kiai.
Yeah.
I mean, they can ring bells, but I don't know about
They can ring bells.
That's, I think, the extent of what they can do, unless you're living in another dimension or something.
What do you
That's
mean ring
some wild
bells?
Like,
Yeah,
so Kiai is all about, you go like, Kiai! And then you like send this
Energy
this
force,
wave of, basically sound. And so then you hear a bell like, in the distance.
What the hell?
But yeah, they have
What
these
the bell?
videos of these people who are like falling all over the place and doing this and that because they're just paying respect to their master, basically.
Yeah. It's pretty gnarly because when you see it, right, it's like you see all these like these students of these masters that like fully buy into it, and they're fully committed to like, oh, you hit me, oh god, that was hard. And then you have these like skeptical people that go in there to like just
like
embrace it, right?
Yeah.
Like they're there to like actually like see what it's about and everything like that, right? They go in there with like an open mind and everything.
Hopefully,
Yeah, hopefully. I hope so. But it's like they're throwing these like little Kiai energy things, and then it's like nothing's happening to the other person. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The louder the sound and the faster you cut your breath is how strong your hits are.
The louder the sound and how. That's gonna give me a heart attack.
Yeah, right?
That's some crazy stuff.
I mean, I think there's like a underlying like, I won't say truth to it, but it comes from like the idea of like if you're punching properly or doing something properly, you're
totally.
sending energy.
Yeah.
But I think that takes it a little bit further than
It's actually using energy, sound waves.
Because you need to have that contact to
Yeah.
actually like transfer that energy. Because like there is a momentum that you're giving someone when you hit them, but not
And that's
quite.
Biomechanics, man. Biomechanics.
There we
see?
go. That physics comes back.
And we talked about this earlier, but like, how do you tell right off the bat if someone is a real like martial artist, like instructor, versus someone that's just bullshitting?
Well, I mean, that comes down to like, one, it certainly helps to have a background and like know what you're looking for, but at the same time,
Just pick a fight with them.
like, are they willing to like discuss things? Because like I remember when I was in karate, my instructor, my sensei, whatever you want to call him, like he would be always willing to change stuff and kind of tailor it to you more personally. So like, yeah, he had a curriculum for you that was definitely good to learn. So you kind of like, you want to follow that and be exposed to everything you can, but you might not ever use a certain thing that you're taught, but you're at least exposed to it. So you can find if that works for you, if it doesn't. But if someone's like giving you something specific and they're saying this is always going to work or something, if they're like promising a lot of stuff, then might not be quite.
They're a one-trick pony.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you can challenge what they're giving you.
See, I just know how to break boards.
Do you actually?
Huh? No.
I can break a chopstick.
You sounded so British right there. Do you actually?
Do you actually?
It's all in your head.
All right, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Connor,
Hey,
and
Connor.
now
Next box.
the next box,
Eric.
the next food box.
Let's open it up.
Yeah, Eric, give us a little rundown of who you are, where you're from, what you do, how you
Many
got
places
to
that you're from.
the many-faced
No,
person.
alright. I'm from Chicago.
Awesome.
And what am I now? I know all of you from the same company that we work at.
Yeah.
Aligned.
Yeah.
And I'm an acupuncturist there. So for you've all tried acupuncture here, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah,
Dude,
I'm an acupuncturist.
My back is like gnarly right now.
Good. Gnarly in a bad or good way?
In a good way.
Are
Like
you sore?
I was really sore like
Yeah.
Friday
I
morning.
told you you would be, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was nuts.
Yeah. I might have been a little bit aggressive on you with the cups, but
Not as fun.
The truth comes out.
well, now we're on camera. I have to tell the truth.
Ah.
Yeah. So I'm an acupuncturist. I've been doing this for about 4 years now, including my internship. Yeah. What else should I talk about?
Well, you travel, right? You started on a boat, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I've always enjoyed traveling, and really the reason I started working on cruise ships right out of grad school, because I just didn't think I would land a job here. Like with acupuncture, it's a bit difficult. It's kind of difficult. For other professions in the medical field, you can work in a hospital. Even chiros, there are a lot more opportunities than acupuncturists. So I heard of an opportunity on cruise ships because, well, I like to see new places. So I got started on that pretty much it was my first job. And I did that for 2 7-month contracts.
How old are you? At that
Pretty close to what I am now.
What?
4 years ago. 4 years ago.
What does that mean?
I was 29. Yeah, so 2017 I started. I think I was 29.
Oh, okay.
So I did that, and then now I'm close to 32. So
You don't look 32 though.
Yeah, you don't look
Asian
into it
blood.
at all, man.
We're all gonna live forever. Sorry, Connor.
It's okay, man.
Can I
Just
have
like
some?
Well, I'm only half, so
you just gotta get some blood transfusion,
Yeah.
right from an Asian guy,
Very healthy.
and then you'll be good.
Just do it through. Yeah.
What's your blood type?
triple the link.
I don't
Yeah,
even know.
triple the length. Yeah, that's how it works.
If you're A neg, I got you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I am.
Is
Yeah.
is acupuncture still a growing field?
Yeah, totally.
I feel like
because they're incorporating into Western medicine too.
it is.
Totally.
It's
Slowly.
definitely.
Mhm.
I
And-
think that we are where chiros were maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So now it seems like 70% of the people out there have seen or are currently seeing chiropractors.
Mhm.
With us, we kind of piggyback a lot off of chiropractors now, like with our company, right?
Yeah.
But people are seeing more and more how well it works for just about anything. A lot of people hear about acupuncture for pain, so like a lot of muscle tension and stuff. But then once I talk to them, they will start to understand that it can treat anything. So now I see a lot of people with sleep issues, digestive stuff,
Psoriasis.
psoriasis.
Yeah. Big shout out
Is it going down?
Yeah, no, big
Yeah.
shout out to Eric because when I first told him about my skin condition, I went to see him for like a good number of visits, and he with his needling skills.
Along with your
Yeah.
along with your
Darts.
diet changes.
Yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
supplement. It really helped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming in. But yeah, I mean, it's just it can treat anything.
Okay.
So that's what's really cool about it. Yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of the patients you see, do you feel like a lot of your time with them is like educating? Do you find them like surprised about what acupuncture can do? Or they usually know?
Yes, I think I'm more surprised that they know that it can treat more things. I mean, obviously I'll have to explain this whole thing because we work with a very strange concept of channel theory, which, you know, most Westerners have no idea what it is. Like, I had no idea what it was until I started just becoming interested in it in like my early mid-20s.
What is channel theory?
So channel theory is this idea that you have all these energetic channels throughout your body.
Chakra points.
So it's kind of it's different from chakras.
Okay.
Chakras are big in Ayurveda, Tibetan medicine kind of things, but in Chinese medicine you do have a similar system. I think in Ayurveda there's like 7 or 8 chakras. Tibetan there's 5. Usually maybe they play off of the Ayurveda as well. But anyways, in Chinese medicine you have kind of 3. You can refer to them as chakras. So like over here, and then at the bottom. But the channels are not separate because everything is connected, but basically for our purposes here, they're separate. So you have, I always tell this to patients, like you have your liver, which is on your right side, right abdomen, right? And so you have that in Chinese medicine. You have a physical liver, but the liver channel itself starts on your big toe, goes all the way up your leg, connects with other organ systems, and then ends at the top of your head. And that's the basic idea for all of these things. So they're energetic pathways, but when you're thinking about it, when you're getting a treatment, you could think of it as all of the physical happenings that your body has. So your blood system, your lymph system, your nervous system, your fascia, everything like that. It's just a way that everything is connected in your body, just like you are connected to everything else in life. And that's no joke.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's so enlightening.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, very interesting. It's so cool to think about.
I feel like that the way you explain it too is, for some reason, I feel like it's very Buddhist of you. Everything is connected. Everything is.
Well, it's the truth that everything is. Yeah. I think that in Western society, we like to think of ourselves as so separate from everything else. But, like, how have you survived? Like, how do you live? Right? Like, what makes your body? Right? Like, what makes your body? Give me an example. Food, right? So where does your food come from?
Animals.
Next door neighbor.
It comes from animals. It comes from your next door neighbor. It comes from the earth,
Nature.
the trees.
Water.
And who delivers that shit to you? Like,
Amazon
do you
Prime.
go get it? And then who works for Amazon Prime, right?
Right,
So
right.
and
More
then,
of
Oh shit!
Oh no, it's a cycle.
so it's everything, right? Like,
Yeah.
and to think that even in Western medicine, I think, you know, this is my understanding of it because I don't have a Western medicine background. We did study it, but anyways, I think my basic understanding of it before I started studying this, like, I have a more in-depth understanding now, but still, like, so when you grow up, you hear that this is separate from that. Your liver is separate from your spleen. Your heart is separate from your intestines.
Yeah.
But your blood goes to all of these different places. So, like, you cannot look at things being separate, right? It's impossible, because if you remove your heart, your whole body dies. Same thing, you know, if you remove your intestines, your whole body dies.
Yeah.
Everything plays off of everything else.
That's true,
Big
but
And that's just how that's what life is.
from what I understand, also, like, I'm by no means am I, like, you know, like a Western medicine, like, genius, or I know a lot about it, but I do know that I could be way off on this, but, like, you could live without your spleen, though.
Yeah. But not if you take it out yourself.
Okay.
I mean, like...
Well, no, I don't mean like that. Like, I mean, like, you know, like, if it accidentally ruptured, right?
Totally,
Let's say you're playing football or
Yeah.
something like that, you get tackled and your spleen ruptures.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so Western medicine is crazy good for helping your body adapt without having these things. Like, I had a great uncle who, during his last few years, had to have a feeding tube, like, because he couldn't eat. So he had a feeding tube directly connected to his stomach because there was something wrong with his esophagus.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could live without those things, just like people could get kidney transplants
Or dialysis.
Yeah. But basically, you are still functioning with the help of all these other things.
Your body's still doing other processes.
Right. And you are still relying on these other things to help keep you alive, right? Because for one reason or another, your spleen had to be taken from you. And if it wasn't, you probably would have died. But with the intervention of all these, whatever, you know, the doctor, of the blood transfusion, of all these other things, that's why you're still able to live. because of all the other bits and pieces that came together.
Nature.
It's that connection.
Whole circle, man. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like you draw those use one of those like calligraphy brushes and just draw a big circle.
Yeah.
The Ansel circle.
And so
It always seems to come
wabi
full circle.
sabi.
Wabi sabi. Yeah, that's wild though. That actually that actually opened my mind just now. Just seeing that.
That everything's connected.
Yeah, because to be honest, like I was raised in a really lax Asian household just because like my family was separated at a very early age, so I'm the only one from my parents' marriage. So I had the freedom to be like exposed to like a lot of different things, right, based off of like different family dynamics, right? Like all my cousins, I grew up with them pretty much, so they're all like my family, and they're like pretty much all like my brothers and sisters, right? And it's because of that concept that like I was exposed to like a lot of different like cultures like within like households, and some were more strict, some were more laxed, some had already had you doing chores at a young age, some didn't, and some were pretty, I would say, on the extreme end of like kind of the discipline world, and some were more laxed, you know. So it's like really interesting to see that. And
Where
then
were
kind
you?
of
Discipline or you said lax?
Yeah. So mine was more laxed, but at the same time, I still got a lot of it just because like I sought after like attention, right? Because my parents were separated. I went house to house and everything like that. So I did everything I could, right, to get the attention from like my mom, my dad, and my extended family, So I was not the bright. I would say I was decently smart. I just didn't put any effort in school, just because like I'd rather play video games, and I was always like, I always want to know how do I get their attention. So I was doing all these dumb things as a kid just to get their attention. Whether it's like not doing homework, ditching school, doing all this other stuff.
Looking back, do you realize that you were doing it?
Looking back.
Okay, so at
that point in time, I didn't realize it at all. But looking back at it, I'm like, I realize it now, But it's just crazy to me that like, being in that kind of family situation really like messes with your head.
It shapes
like,
you. I mean, in one way or another, good or bad. I mean, it influences you or makes you somewhat of who you are today, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's how you address that, right?
Yeah.
It's how you respond.
Because it could be a bad environment, but you could turn it into something like a learning experience, just like everything else.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of like where I came from. Is like I pretty much had to learn how to do everything on my own, just because of how my circumstances were, and it was just like really interesting to see the different dynamics in the households, and then from there, kind of like learning that everyone's connected in one way or another, and just kind of like growing up in that, being everyone's son, right? For all my aunts and uncles. It really gave me that feeling and that dynamic of like understanding that it's really important to create relationships, but at the same time, right, like even if you don't like this cousin or you don't like this aunt or uncle, right, it's like you're still family, and it's like
definitely
if shit hits the fan for them, you're still going to be there, and that's been my mentality ever since, and that's kind of how my friendship circles kind of form too, it's like shit hits the fan, right? But I mean, unless you're clearly being really toxic, right, in that sense, then you're gonna get cut off.
I recently made like a Twitter post about that. Like, even if it's your family, but they're toxic, I think it's okay to teach people that you can keep those kinds of people at an arm's distance, because at the end of the day, you have your life, and you can't let those people kind of like just drag you down. And I think it's just like starting like to teach, especially the younger people, or even people our age, that it's okay to do that, because then they have that unnecessary like pressure, and then they get these like emotions are suppressed or whatever. Like it's just a downward spiral.
Definitely. And if you like listen to like our earlier podcasts too, it's like I for one am one that's really susceptible to like just toxic relationships. Like I had a really toxic one, a personal relationship that was really toxic, and then another one that was like with that was weird. And I had another one what used to be a really, really close friend. I don't talk to them as much, right? That one close friend, just because of like their own mentality. But when I see them, you know, it's like, it's cool, you know, it's like we chill, we hang out, right? And that's fine. You know, it's just like, I'm not going to go out of my way to kind of like make sure that they're okay now. Because it used to be like an emotional burden that I kind of took on. And I was like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Just because it's bringing me down and everything like that. It's like, I just had to let that go.
Yeah.
And it's hard, right? Because like, you feel like you have to sometimes.
Yeah.
But
You feel like you're kind of like they're saving, like they're the limelight, right? In the end of the tunnel.
it's almost like a personal addiction too. It's like, you know, you probably should get rid of it, but at the same time, you know it so well.
What's the psychological thing behind that? Is codependence.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That all goes back to interconnectivity, right?
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's like, you have to... You have to know if you can be responsible for that person, and like, you have to be able to figure it out if you can be at that moment in time, and if you can't,
It's okay, right?
it's okay to create some separation.
Okay,
Yeah, but it's tough to always be there, especially for like everyone.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, is it worth it to any of you to keep going, like keep that toxic relationship around, like if it's bringing you down personally, and you can see that, like if you feel like you can't help yourself at that point.
Yeah, like if it's clearly like toxic to the point where it's like bringing you down and you're becoming like unproductive and kind of like you're losing your own drive and your inner like your own mental health, right? If everything like that is kind of like falling down and breaking down on you, it's like that should be a red flag, and you should be like, you know what, I need to step back a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I feel like you almost always can't help someone else if you can't help yourself too.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you have to be at your best to kind of project that energy on someone else and help them out, or else you're not putting that effort into it like you should.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's
knowing how to approach it?
Yeah.
I think is the main thing. And like everybody can approach it in a correct way. It's just knowing how to do that is what's difficult. Like you could figure it out if you had the proper, I don't think training is the right word.
I say proper feeling.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Or experience if you've been there before.
Yeah. Probably experience is best. Yeah.
Damn it.
Wow. No,
that's okay.
I mean, I think but if you're not at that place at that certain point in time, you do have to create some separation.
How do you, in situations like that for you guys, I guess, how do you push past the that toxic barrier and remind yourself that we have to be kind still? You know what I mean? For you guys, you can whatever. Which one?
I think pushing past that, I mean, again, going back to knowing yourself and knowing how much you can handle. So it's like, I mean, you're going to get those feelings, right? You're going to get, whether it's anger, sadness, something inside of you, you need to know that you can control that. You can't let that dictate what you're doing. So if you're going to push past that, you've got to be able to take that breath, keep yourself relaxed, and be able to push forward knowing that you're still in control of the situation or yourself, kind of in that realm.
Yeah. I think that one of the most helpful things that I've come across is knowing that you are just as responsible for that situation in that moment, in that time, right? Like, there's no possibility for that toxic event or toxic person to be at that place in that time without you there. Right? Like, so you are always playing a role in that. Just like if you get cut off when you're driving in a car, it is just as like, and if you get angry, that's your fault, right? Like someone cut you off, but you reacted in a toxic way, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the same thing when you are when you have someone who has been so close to you for maybe your whole life, but then over the past few years, they've done some things that have upset you, or they don't help you progress, they hold you back, whatever they're doing. you have just as much of a responsibility, and maybe that means creating that that distance between you two, or just changing the way that you look at it. Because like if you get cut off by a car, you can get mad, or you can not get mad, and then you will be more peaceful because of that. You're not going to honk and yell and flip them off, and they will be more peaceful. After the fact, right?
So I had a conversation. We had actually had a conversation about that kind of like or that situation as well with one of our earlier guests. No, with it was with Kurt. Remember?
You mean our experience with the
so like the driving thing, yeah. So it's kind of like
I was thinking about that today. Actually.
Yeah. So it's kind of like
driving.
Oh no. Driving. So a little while back, there was a wild driver that we encountered.
Pokemon style.
Yeah, Pokemon style, literally, right? So I was just following, or I just happened to be going the same way that this
other
person
guy was going.
Mm-hmm. It was on Lincoln and Jersey. Mm-hmm. That's where it started. He was making a left onto Lincoln, and so were we.
Yeah. It just looked like
we made the left. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he made a right onto McCormick, and so did we. I was gonna make a right onto Devon, and then he, like midway down, like in front of like Home Depot, he pulled off to like the center like lane, and immediately cut behind us. And then we made the left onto Devon. I was going down Devon, and then I was gonna make a right onto what's that? Kedzie? Yeah, I was gonna make a right onto, a left on the Kedzie. And then he just pulls out into like oncoming traffic and just like cuts me off. Like he scrapes like my front bumper of the car.
Really?
Yeah. And then I was like, what the fuck?
I wanted to fight.
He wanted to fight so bad. I was like, dude, no.
Yeah.
He steps out of the car. He starts like kind of instigating like a fight. He started like saying like, you know, what are you doing? Why are you following me? You know, you think this is a game and everything like that. And I'm like,
I was like, he might be strapped. So I'm like, never mind.
Yeah, no. Like that's why I was so calm about it. Like, dude, I was not following you. I was just bringing my coworker here home, right? My coworker / cousin home, right? And then he just immediately got back in his car and he just drove off. I'm like.
He sped off,
bitch.
actually.
Yeah, he sped off. And I was like,
he like did
you hit my car.
A last second vroom, like.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And I was like, bitch, you hit my car. I'm like, fuck.
You didn't get his license plate.
Well, funny enough, we found his car parked on Kimball.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was like, let's take a bat to his window.
And now they know.
No, that's not gonna do anything.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm toxic right there.
we need to create some distance here, Vince.
Yeah, dude. You need some
There's
help.
that feeling.
I know.
On the inside.
This was back in April. Yeah. It was Friday night, April.
When we first met.
Yeah. When we first started, when we first created a podcast, everything.
Wait,
April was like the time.
How did that turn out then? Like, did you call the police? Or?
Yeah, I filed the police report, but my dyslexic ass brain. Was it your dyslexic brain?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it was his dyslexic brain. We got the numbers right, but the order was wrong. So like the first 3, the letter, and then the first 2 numbers I followed was right. Then the last 4 were off.
At least we got all the same
Yeah,
numbers and letters.
yeah, it was just jumbled up.
Rearranged.
Do you think if you like you know the type of car, the color? I mean, obviously they're not going to do too much work pursuing it because it's really in the grand scheme of all things, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like no one was hurt.
Yeah.
But you would think that they could figure that out.
No, I think they did. It's just they didn't want to tell me because they didn't want me to like go over there and like instigate problems.
Or me.
Yeah.
Wait, the police found out. Well, that's not. They wouldn't. They don't have any business telling you where he lives.
Yeah,
It's their
exactly.
business to go over there.
Yeah, it's their business.
Insurance.
But they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they probably won't. I mean, yeah. But isn't a hit and run like a felony?
Yeah.
So that's something that they should investigate. It's not like
It's kinda
stealing
a
an
big deal.
iPhone or something from a pocket, because that's.
Yeah.
Well, I guess iPhone theft now could be a felony because it's like over $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pricing.
Yeah.
If you had that new iPhone.
I mean, technically, like robbing in general now is like, I would see it as like a felony just because of the fact that on your person you're carrying well over $1,000 now, right?
Yeah.
Because all these smartphones are now coming out as like 1,000 to like 1,500, and I'm like, dude, I remember back in the day when I got my Razr phone, right, the flip phone.
But those were $500.
No,
when they first came
No.
out.
They're going for 1,000 right now.
Well, that's
What?
the new one.
Yeah, did you know the Razr?
That's like
like
make a
touch
new
screen.
one?
it's like an iPhone.
They have a new one?
Yeah, it's literally an iPhone that can.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, but I remember back then
You're
though.
so
It's like
terrible.
it wasn't like a it wasn't like a new one. it was like a used one from like those what do you call it? Those secondhand reseller guys.
Yeah.
I got it for like $150.
Like Pawn or something
awesome.
like that.
I don't know. It's like on the Vons, like those guys that sell phones there.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Sorry.
Inappropriate.
Cut that.
We can't. I mean, we could, but we can't. But yeah, no. Yeah, I just went to one of those guys and we just picked one up because I was really interested in getting one of those Razr phones.
Yeah. Well, they were a big deal.
Yeah,
They were.
and I remember right after that, it was like that whole was that one that had the flipping screen with the full keyboard.
Sidekick.
Yeah.
I had that. I felt so cool with that.
A keyboard.
I feel like those are still cool. Just the way that they operate.
Yeah.
I really like the old flip phones because like when you hang up on someone, it was so satisfying. Like especially when you're angry.
Yeah.
But
Fuck
going back to that, what's the best way to kind of express or deal with those like emotions we were talking about, like the anger, the sadness, that rage, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, the only healthy thing I know is from
Lifting.
time to time lifting and venting to the best of my ability.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, so like exercise is gonna get some endorphins going, but then your question is more not how to deal with it and just push it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
I push that down a lot.
Well, anger's like an energy, right? Like it builds up so quick.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to let it out in the form of like physical, like you want to hit something or slam something, but you have to channel it somewhere. It can't just, like you said, you can't just throw it off because it's definitely in there. So, I mean, being able to stay relaxed is something that's hard to do, right? Especially in a situation like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That was pretty calm.
Yeah,
He was on edge.
I was burning.
you need to chill.
Yeah.
You need to be able to tell yourself though, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, because if you just react, then it's just the anger coming out.
Yeah. Because like in my head, I was like saying like, dude, that guy probably was carrying some illegal shit in his car. He was transporting it somewhere, and he was already on edge. And then he probably took some other shit that put him even more on edge. And it's like, dude,
Well, that's a good way to handle those things. It's like to give it a scenario.
yeah,
Or like to put a story behind it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then also just going back to what we were talking about, right, is like seeing that you are in that situation and you are feeling that way because you're allowing yourself to feel that way. And in a lot of, it sounds kind of redundant, right? But like this is kind of what I study, and it all goes back to the interconnectivity of everything. So it's like you play off of that, they play off of this. And if you are a more calm person, instead of flying off the handle and expressing your anger, you can understand that your anger is ultimately not real. It's fake. It's an emotion that you've allowed to overtake yourself.
yeah,
And it's a fake emotion. It's totally fake. Like that is not in the sense that it isn't happening, but it is not
Helping.
the real. It's not helping, and it's not the real state of mind that you are supposed to have. Just like everybody is. You know, you go back to this whole thing about love is the underlying emotion or essence of whatever is happening. But that's it is kind of the truth, is like there's this base layer of what we from what everything comes out of, and that we kind of call that emptiness.
yeah.
Not nothingness, but emptiness.
Which is a good thing or bad thing, you're saying? Emptiness.
Emptiness is
Oh.
like emptiness is like emptiness is ultimate existence. This is about to get maybe too much,
Too
but
philosophical.
emptiness
Go ahead.
is
Go for
the
it.
ultimate existence. Emptiness is what everything comes out of. Emptiness is ultimate reality, and then the reality that we experience is relative reality. So relative reality comes out of emptiness. So it's all these things
Interesting.
that it's our emotions and stuff. And so you allow, and because of all these causes and conditions, they're allowed to happen, but they come out of somewhere. And so I can't really get into it too much because I don't have the deepest understanding of it, right? Because that's what I'm still.
I mean, the way you just described it kind of reminds me of like the empty cup thing, right? It's like, is the cup half full or half empty, right? And the whole idea of the cup in my eyes, right, from what you just explained it, is like the cup is nothingness, and everything that goes into it, right, is your emotions that kind of get, exactly, it's emptiness.
No such thing as nothingness.
Yeah. No such thing as nothingness. But yeah, everything goes into it, right? And then when that cup breaks, that's kind of like the emotion, the outer layer or the outer shell of the emotions, right? Kind of like getting a hold of your nothingness.
Well, what goes into it should be, I think it would be a better explanation, because if it breaks, then there's what's left.
Yeah.
But if it's the glass, if emptiness is the glass, then it's whatever, and then you have clear water, let's say. So this is not mine. This is something that I've heard the example. So it's like you have a clear glass, and then like there could be red dye, or a better example would be a lampshade. And it's a clear lampshade, and then the color of light is kind of the projection of relative reality.
Okay.
So anger could be like red, right?
Okay.
But emptiness is always there. It's the basis of our existence. But also, it's a two-sided coin. You can't have emptiness without relative reality.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Because everything's connected. You need one or the other. Or both.
Right.
That's wild.
I mean, I was going to say it's like a canvas, right? Like a blank canvas, and what you're painting on there is kind of... Yeah, Bob Ross.
As long as what you're painting on there is not permanent.
Yeah, because it can always be washed off.
It always is changing,
Watercolors.
What's that?
Watercolors.
Yeah. But I mean, also, like, what you allow to be painted on there, too, is, like, kind of your emotion.
Yeah.
Do you want a lot of red on there, that anger, or do you want to keep that a little bit lower and put more blue or more, whatever?
Brown.
For what?
Yeah, so you can always...
Trees.
The earth?
Dirt.
So one of the things that you could do in those situations is accept that it's your fault because you allowed that situation to arise in your mind, because basically everything, when it comes down to it, has to do with mind.
That must be so hard for someone with a lot of pride.
It's so hard for everybody because everybody has an ego.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not like, me talking about this does not mean that I don't react to things.
Right.
I react just like everybody else.
It happens.
Just like, I mean, monks who live in the mountains, like, will have reactions. That's just part of being human. Like, that's one of the reasons that we exist, is because we are addicted to our emotions, our reactions to these things. So it's tough. It's totally tough. It's the hardest thing to deal with is your lack of understanding of what is actually going on.
Yeah.
So it's like it's easier when you accept that, yes, you are angry, but then what are you going to do with that?
Totally.
Did your martial art experience teach this kind of philosophy too, or?
Yeah, actually, this was it was very connected. Actually, was given or not given, but we had a book for our class. Obviously, it was a very optional book, but it was called Zen and the Martial Arts.
I bet you read it.
Oh, I'm still reading it.
Oh, okay.
I'm rereading it for like the third time.
There you go.
So it's got really cool just philosophy, and then it's about martial arts, but not anywhere in the book does it teach you about martial arts. It just teach you about like the philosophy and what the writer had that experience with. But I remember my instructor once was telling me how someone they were just learning how to spar in the class, and the guy kept getting hit by a technique or blocked or something. And he kept
spamming A.
Yeah, right. Just that constant
Button mash.
But he was getting angry because the guy was better than him. But he was like, don't get angry, because now you're just going to come at the guy and you're going to keep trying something. It's not going to work because, the guy's better than you, but he's also calm. He's just seeing you come at him like crazy, and then you're not getting anywhere. So, I mean, just like philosophically speaking, like, if you get angry, it's not helping that situation at all. You're just making it worse. You're not in control of yourself. You're not doing anything that you were taught. You're just reacting again. So if you take that time to respond and really like think about what you're going to do, you can calm yourself down. You might actually have more of a chance there. I was going to say, though, like, this situation reminds me of like a restaurant. Like, if you get something that you weren't expecting, or they mess something up from your order. Yeah, right. See, there's a good example. I mean, you could be super upset about them doing that. You could, yell at the waitress or the waiter or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Speak to the manager, be super upset. They know you're mad. Maybe they understand that they messed up. But if you're super mad, you're not helping your case at all.
Yeah.
If you choose to be calm and be like, hey, this is not what I ordered, but like, just like be super nice about it, they're more inclined to be like, hey, we'll give you that for free then.
Exactly, yeah. Being kind can take you so far. Like, even if you're not expecting anything. Because, like, when we were at that restaurant, I was like, you know what, it's fine. Like, I don't want you to go back and make anything because it'll probably take you too much time.
You understand where they're coming from.
And so we're like, we'll just take this, it's fine. And he's like, no, it's okay. Like, if you guys don't like it, I'll just comp it.
Yeah.
And you just gotta be nice. And I feel like that is really hard.
Yeah.
Like you're saying,
that is really
being
hard.
nice.
Yeah. I remember there was one time too, like a restaurant situation where I went there, we were eating and everything like that, and I remember one of the dishes. It's like the most odd thing that to end up in food, right? It's like it was a bolt.
A bolt?
Yeah, like a bolt.
metal bolt.
Yeah, like a metal bolt that you screw like a nut onto.
Construction restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, where did this come from? Like, I don't even understand, you know, like I grew up in a kitchen my entire life. The only thing that I can see it coming from, right, is like if it came from like the heat lamp one of the little screws from the heat lamp that holds it
They're
there.
taking food deconstructed, literally.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I found this nut in my food. And then they're like, oh my God, we were so sorry.
I was like, I have a nut allergy. Don't put this in your...
Literally, taking it literally. I have a nut allergy. But isn't that nuts they're like beans or nuts? Like, no, I have a metal nut allergy. I'm allergic to metallic stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's screwed up.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But yeah, they apologize and they comped the entire meal. I don't think.
Yeah.
But now if you went off on them...
Yeah, it would have been
super
completely
upset,
different. Yeah, it would have been completely different.
They might be inclined to...
Put more nuts in your fucking dish.
Well, think about that. Like, they take it back. They might give you something new. But you might still pay maybe half price for it.
Yeah.
Or they might have like...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even in the future, too, the internet connectivity... Do you want to come back to that restaurant ever again? They might remember you as like that guy who's an ass, you know, and he went off on them like, don't serve that guy, don't mess it up. Like, you've set this standard for yourself now.
And you'll probably still go back, right? Because of maybe not.
I mean,
because you like nuts.
Yeah, the food was shit actually. So
no, I mean, I probably would go back if I was in the area. It's all the way up in like Schaumburg.
But you wouldn't avoid it.
Yeah, I wouldn't avoid it. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, those kinds of things happen all the time.
Yeah.
Like, people always, we're humans, right? Nobody's perfect.
Nope.
I've messed up with acupuncture. I mean, nothing serious.
Are you sure?
You left needles?
Nothing serious.
Actually, I've seen a patient walk out with a needle in their back before.
Oh, shit.
In their back?
Well, not in their back, but like, it was like on their neck. It was like on
with
their
the
neck.
shirt, like the shirt's poking out. Just like...
I was like, hey, hang on, time out, stop moving. Just pull up. All right, you can go now.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
It happens, though.
Yeah, that wasn't me, so.
We don't work together.
That was somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I mean... Yeah, everybody can think of a mistake that they've made, and hopefully they're just not that big of a deal.
I can think of a situation where I completely like just took to like the complete like other end of the spectrum. So this is kind of like
flipped out.
Yeah, like I flipped out like crazy.
Fake footsies.
Yeah, sorry.
Y'all crazy. But yeah, so this was a while back. This is when me and this person that I was seeing, we just fell off, and like it was just like really bad, and I let all that emotion kind of like
A friend or
a relationship.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I let all that stuff kind of like dig in,
Yeah.
and it dug in really deep, and then I went out with my friends for one of their birthdays, and then they were drinking, and then like I just started drinking, and then like my emotions took over, and I just drank. I didn't stop at all.
Yeah.
And then we were in Chinatown, and we went to like a Chi Cafe. Did I tell you this story?
Yeah.
Okay. With the Chi Cafe. And then one of my guys, like, he saw his ex there, and then he was like, let's go, let's not do anything, like I don't want to go in there no more. And then my other cousin, or one of my cousins were with us, and he was like, do you want me to confront her right now and tell her off? And then they started making a scene, and then that just sparked something inside of me with like what I was going through at the time, and I just got really upset, and I just started like throwing my head into like fucking like a one of those like little garage door things. I was like, can you guys stop fucking doing this in front of me?
Oh my.
And then they stopped, And then we went over to Chi Cafe because we were still gonna go eat. I was hungry as fuck.
So you bang your head and then you went out to eat.
That's not the end of it.
Don't
He
mind
saw
this
her-
blood dripping down my face.
No, there was no blood. There was no blood.
I can still eat.
Yeah, but no, like we got in front of Chi Cafe, and then like his ex was like I guess still in there and whatnot, and then yeah, it just my cousin started talking about that again, and then it just got me even more mad.
Damn.
And I just started legit shadowboxing a freaking metal pole. Like it was like if you heard it, it would have laid someone out because it was literally like dink dink dink, like full on with like metal on like flesh. It's like
And you were
it
drunk.
doesn't make that noise.
You lost control, my friend.
Yeah, I lost control.
Damn.
And like
Big
like that pole, it had like at least, I'd say maybe I punched it a good amount of times. I don't know how many times.
You're
I
pretty
punched it.
strong. That's scary.
It was like loud.
Should have seen the other guy.
You should you should have seen the other guy.
The pole.
Yeah.
He had blood all over him.
Yeah, he did. It's not his blood though. It was my blood. And then we walked into Chi Cafe, and then when we sat down, that's when I felt my hands pulsating, and I broke my hand, and then basically I got ice. I was icing it, and then I crashed at my cousin's house, and then yeah.
And you felt
To
like
this
an idiot
day-
the next day.
Hmm?
And then you felt like an idiot the next day.
I did feel like an idiot because I could not use my hands.
Yeah.
I got a boxer's fracture
Yeah.
on my
So that pinky was like a little
Yeah.
further down.
Yeah.
Do you have a metal rod in any of this?
No. If I did, that's dangerous. That would be considered a weapon. But no, yeah, I got a boxer's fracture right here. And because I'm not a boxer, I don't know how to throw a proper punch, right?
And punching a pole doesn't help.
So their pinky was doing a Philly shell?
Yeah. So yeah, that happened. And yeah, that's, I always look back at that and I use that as a lesson. It's like, don't let emotions like that take over to the point where you commit self-harm to yourself to that point. Because that's just, man.
Right, and I mean, it's a mistake, right? But if you can learn from that, that's even more powerful.
Yeah.
Because now you might have done it, but yeah, now you know that can take over, and you might know yourself better from that, where you can say, you get mad, you shoot to that situation, you're like, okay, let's not react like that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, alcohol never helps. But there are people
Doesn't.
who still say that weed is more dangerous than alcohol somehow. No. Yeah. But that's another
topic.
for another day.
Yeah.
That's another topic.
Do you guys believe in karma?
Of course.
Yeah.
If I hit you in the face, are you gonna bruise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause and effect. That's what it is.
What?
Karma is cause and effect.
Oh, okay.
That's all karma is. I mean, the teachings of karma, if you go into like the spiritual, if you go into the spiritual view, if you go like Hindu or Buddhist, then it goes much deeper than that. But at its most basic level, the truth of karma is, the fundamental teaching of karma is every action has a reaction, right? So like,
Newton's first law.
That's right.
I mean, it's
Buddha's first law.
It's the complete truth.
Putin.
Oh my god.
Why is that?
Cut us off. We're done.
Yeah, that's what karma is, but if you start to look at things deeper and deeper, you see that karma goes deeper and deeper. So if I hit you in the face, you're gonna bruise, but I'm going to feel like a jerk. You are going to hate me. You're gonna spread, this and this is gonna happen. So it's this whole what do they call it? The butterfly effect, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be angry, or I'm gonna feel bad. Or I'm gonna have all these different emotions, and this is gonna spread to that, and this and that, blah 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 blah. So
and that's just like the rippling effect. Like I just pictured like the water drop.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, you throw a rock.
It's so
in a pond.
fast.
Yeah.
And then even like further down the road, even deeper into it, like if it comes down to a situation where like you need his help for something, you ask him for something, he's gonna be like, hell no, you punched me that one time.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it is. Yeah, it's so much more than just in the moment. Yeah, that's why that whole saying, the butterfly effect. A butterfly flaps its wings in China, it can create a hurricane in Florida.
I never heard that before.
But
that's
yeah,
that's a nice
but
saying.
it's like
that's a nice saying.
But it's, I mean, if you start to look at things like, so there's going to be a lot more than just the butterfly and the hurricane. But if you start to, and like, so Buddha said, basically you have to, as far as the depth of karma goes, you kind of have to take his word for it. because it's so complicated that you can't really understand it completely. Like, you can understand it. You can understand the idea of it for sure. But to really see like all the karmic happenings and causation, and then you get into like future lives and this and that, that's too much stuff. But on its most basic kind of level, like, yeah, you totally, of course, like, you can call it karma or you can call it something else,
But like that fundamental concept still obviously is true within whether it's spiritual or not.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
it's just what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be thinking, like, it's going to change I take a sip of tea now or I take it in 10 seconds. Something different is going to happen in my mind. And then that's going to create, me to think about this and that. And that's going to cause me to think about something that seems totally unrelated, but kind of it's not, because everything kind of goes together. So, yeah.
That's some wild stuff right there.
Yeah. But karma's just like, it's nothing to believe in. It's just the truth.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just in some way or form.
Yeah.
It's happening. I was gonna say, when you were talking about that accident earlier, where that guy like scraped you and getting mad at him and whatnot, like, and you said that was right around when he started this, right?
Yeah.
So like, imagine if you had gone off on him and he was strapped or
Yeah.
something else, or you got in some sort of police encounter
This
with him.
podcast wouldn't have happened.
I know.
See, right there.
Shit, yeah, you might
But-
be in jail.
But yeah, it could have really delayed stuff or
I know.
changed everything.
Yeah.
So
Everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
yeah, in some shape or form.
Do you think that? Well, you agree.
Well, depending on what, but a reason of what? Of like, because God had had a plan, or like, I think that's kind of a heavy question. Like, what is I don't know.
What is the reason?
There is a reason it happened, because you created those, so I'll call them, you created those karmic seeds, or you created those circumstances for it to happen. But as far as reasoning, like, I don't know. I mean, okay, what's the word I'm looking for? It is not. Yeah, I don't believe that there is a creator that made this happen because of this. You have free will, 100%. I believe that's what. So I believe that you are not a robot. You are not a machine. And the reason it happened is because you created the causes for it to happen. You created the reasons for it to happen, but then what you do with that is still up to you. It is not up to somebody else. It's you still have that free will to push past that situation.
Yeah.
Or you could
You know
think of
what I'm
it
saying?
too as like, maybe it wasn't something might not have happened for a reason, but you might have been given that sign or that inspiration. So like, you're so not sure if you want to commit to something or do something, and then you're driving one day and then you see someone do something, you see a sign or something, and
Well,
you're
wouldn't
like,
that sign still be a reason?
technically, so I'm not saying it's quite
But you created the causes for that.
technically.
So that's
yeah.
it's like synchronicity. Like, these things are connected, and because you wanted it to happen, or because all these other factors that seem separate from yourself were created, I guess that is a reason for it to happen. So there is a reason for it.
It's
So
just how it
Like,
manifests
nothing's
could be
random.
different.
Yeah. So then, do you guys believe in luck?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think you can get lucky with stuff too.
Yeah.
But I think that you have to create the reason for your luck.
Yeah.
But I think
Like the
that's-
lottery ticket, right? To create it means you play it.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You can increase your
I
chances.
think so.
But there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
But I think that also, yeah, totally.
But I also take like
but-
this
but
kind of saying that one of our other guests kind of had, Mergen. So it's kind of like, if it's luck, you can't necessarily keep it. In terms of like,
nothing's permanent, right?
yeah,
When I think the luckiest people, I mean, you can get, some people get super, super lucky, but that's so rare. I think the luckiest people are the ones who are consistent and almost like annoyingly consistent. They put themselves in the situations for stuff to happen. And if you keep like going at that, then eventually something is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah.
So it's
but
kinda
then technically that's no longer luck though, because you're putting in effort.
True.
Yeah.
You
Right.
are.
Now you're working towards something, right? It's
But-
like you're trying to beat a rock into a circle or a sphere, right? The more times you beat it up, right, into like that shape, you're gonna get it
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as like, there might not be a guarantee
Yeah.
that you're going to get that.
well, like
but
if
at
you
least
play the
you're
lottery,
trying.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can spend thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, but you probably won't win. But then, like, if you get into the spiritual thing, then they will say that in previous lives you created those karmic circumstances for in this life you to have that luck manifest.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how you.
My aunt is really spiritual, or one of my aunts.
Reincarnation.
Yeah, she's like one of those firm believers in reincarnation, and she was telling me like the reason why I'm in these circumstances where like though my family situation happened, that's not on me, right? And for the fact that everyone else around me saw it and kind of took responsibility, right, in a sense, to kind of like raise me to who I am today. That's a sign that in my previous life, or she was saying, right, in my previous life, I had a lot of suffrage, and this is kind of life making up for that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's some weird stuff, man.
There's there's a lot of so I'm 100%. I don't like saying believer and believing in karma, believing in this because anyways, I'm a believer. Let's say in reincarnation in past lives, and I believe that things have been around since beginningless time, so infinite things. So like, and there's this whole way of looking at it from a Buddhist perspective on how you came to be where you are. And if you guys wanted to ever look that up, it's called the 12 Links of Interdependent Origination. Whoa. But that
sounds very familiar.
But it's in many books, and there are books written only on that, and there are books that have that only as a small teaching. But yeah, I mean, you come into this just like in this life, you create circumstances to get Starbucks during the day. This life was created by circumstances before. And reincarnation was actually the major, like that's, people knew that it was a fact, like in Jesus's time. And then Jesus, who was, a very enlightened being, you could call him a Buddha or a Bodhisattva or something, that's what we would call him. He had these teachings that were appropriate for those people of that time. But reincarnation, like, if you say like matter, what is the second law of thermodynamics? It's the matter.
It doesn't. It's not created or destroyed. It's just transferred.
Right, right. And so then when you look at it from Hindu or Buddhist perspective, I think probably some other ones have that too. So the matter, just like matter, your consciousness.
Sorry, the ferret's climbing through the tube right now.
They're having fun.
Ferrets. Yeah.
What are y'all doing? Only one of them just climbs to poop underneath.
They came
it's
from
Novi
too.
It's Roni, actually.
Oh, Roni. Yeah, it's Roni.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just your consciousness came from somewhere too, and that's not destroyed, and it's not recognizable. Your past life, your consciousness. I mean, to you can't recognize that because there's all these other things that come into play of being born into this world or whatever. But
yeah.
How do you figure out what you were in your past life, or how your life was?
Well, you meditate really hard and then become a Buddha.
Become a Buddha.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, like, if you look back, well, why am I because of this? Because then all that's doing, even if you are a very skilled meditator, not a Buddha yet, but even if you are able to look back, because some people can look back into their past lives or kind of see something confusing, a little bit of a confusing picture, what is that accomplishing? That's not like, that's like the thing that you're not supposed to do that you hear from everybody. Like, don't hang on to the past, right? The past is over. So why, you don't need to go back there to figure out what's going on now. Just like, with cause and effect, you need to figure out what you're going to do from here. But being human, we always want to the past.
Yeah, we always do.
And it's interesting too.
Yeah. And I'm also like a firm believer that like, it's like kind of going piggybacking off of what you said, is like the past shapes the present, right? And the present shapes the future. Absolutely. So basically, whatever
the future shapes the present as well.
Yeah.
And the past. Yeah. Because anyways, go on. I'm sorry.
So it just blew my mind right there. Just like,
because like you can't fix what's already been done, or you can't change what's already been done. Yeah. But you can make the best out of that situation, which is going to lead you to your future, which now becomes your present time. So
with that being said, as we're wrapping up, what advice would you guys like to leave the listeners I know we talked a lot about,
some deep
stuff, but I guess if you guys, one from each main takeaway, you would like to leave the listeners.
I feel like Eric's got to think about this one.
Yeah,
He's like, oh.
Take your time.
I'm
Take your time.
It's okay.
I mean, honestly, with everything in life, it's know yourself and know how to be kind to people.
You're fine.
And so like being kind to people, I mean, that's always going to get you far. Just like, I mean, that goes right up there with like working hard and have a process for yourself, but really learn as much as you can about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's going to help you in dealing with the many challenges you might face in life. Because, I mean, we're always going to be given stuff that's not easy to deal with. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, everyone's like that. But to wrap up everything we said, it's how you respond, not how you react to it. Mm. So really take, what you can from everything and learn how to think about that. And if you know yourself the best, then you can respond appropriately and work with what you're given.
Yeah.
And just keep bumping that up. Keep pushing forward with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think Connor said it. That's exactly it, right? Like, if you are kind, good things will happen to you. You may not see that immediately, and if you don't pay attention, you may not see it at all. But that's the truth, 100%. If you spread positivity, that's kind of what you will see. I mean, obviously, no, we won't get into it, but yeah, totally.
Because I mean, if you don't believe it, how is someone else going to believe it? Mm-hmm. And like you said, you might not get those results right away, but you have to know and trust that you believe in being kind to someone, and it's going to pay off. So if you can project that,
it's like practice what you preach.
Yeah, and you're going to get it back somewhere.
Yeah,
no guarantees where, but it's going to happen.
Karma. And I guess by doing that, by being kind to others and seeing your interdependence on others and their interdependence, everything being connected and everything like that, that is a good motivator to keep you on that path of kindness. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, you'll see it in yourself, you'll see it in others. But that's like one of the hardest things. I think that having met you guys, Chris, I'm sorry, I've only met you a couple times, but having worked with them a lot, like, you guys are very, very kind people. I always love Wednesdays. Like, that's my day. I freaking love Wednesdays. I love going into work and seeing you guys. And I always get psyched, when I'm going to spend an extra shift or whatever with you. Mm-hmm. Because I struggle totally with, and I see it, but, anyways, I go down the wrong path sometimes. Mm-hmm. But, you guys always are smiling. And from when I've met you, you're smiling. And you're welcoming people. And so that's a perfect example of that. Mm-hmm. You guys attract positivity into your lives, and I feel you doing that. Yes. Just like the people around you feel you doing that.
That's gnarly.
For sure.
So I think my advice, bringing it to my close is follow the example set by people like you. That's I think
touching.
But again, we're all
it's a logical way to see things.
Yeah, right? It is. Yeah. But again, we're all still just human, and we all have our ups and downs.
Yeah.
Nonetheless. But the more you're positive, the more you stay open-minded, the better outcomes become.
Yeah, totally. Right? Yeah. Create the cause. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Empty mind cup.
Empty mind cup. All right. And with that, we're going to close, and we just want to thank you, Connor and Eric, for joining us today.
We appreciate
We didn't have food.
Yeah.
We're
Thanks
sorry.
No worries.
Any social media plugs you guys want to share? If not, it's totally fine. Like your
social
Instagrams.
Media,
I've
what y'all do.
I mean, I have them, but I don't.
I mean,
that's
nothing to me.
As far as music and stuff, I do want to put some more on. So I mean, Cbergy9 is my Twitter and my Instagram. So
spell it out.
Yeah. How do you spell it?
Oh, CBERG and then 9. So yeah, look it up if you're interested. I'd try to put some guitar stuff on there, but other than that, nothing crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So for our viewers and listeners, we just want to thank you guys for joining us today, and we will see you on the next one.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.